weekend, India and the EU leadership had the summit, a summit that is being called as a milestone summit in terms of relationship between EU and India. With me is the EU envoy with me to talk about this relationship and, of course, the outcomes of the summit. So, welcome to WION. And my first and very obvious question is, what was the key outcome of this summit, and how will this summit make sure that the relationship between EU as a bloc and India goes far in terms of a very changing world?
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. Well, as you said, this has been an extremely successful meeting. It has been described as a turning point or a historic meeting, and I think that's a fair assessment. Indeed, what we have seen is a clear indication of the intention on both sides to work for a step change in our strategic partnership. The meeting has taken place against the backdrop of this major crisis of COVID-19. So what emerged is a clear message of solidarity, from the EU and its member states vis-à-vis India now in these difficult times, and the understanding that we as international community, we all need to work together if we want to address the emergency. India has been leading in this sense by supporting the rest of the world since the outset of the emergency, exporting medicines and vaccines. We are now trying to help India as much as we can, and that's why we have set up this operation within the civil protection mechanism. So first takeaway, a strong message of solidarity and the intention to work together to overcome this crisis. And then a number of very concrete outcomes. I'm sure you have read about the decision to resume negotiations on a free trade agreement, on an investment agreement, on a geographical indication agreement. So we have set the ground for a very broad and ambitious economic agenda. We have also established working groups that are going to deal with very topical issues such as reforms in the World Trade Organization or resilient supply chains, and we want to discuss market access issues. We have agreed on a connectivity partnership, which I believe is an important platform grounded in our common belief in a rules-based system of international governance, on a cooperative approach to international relations. And then from the meeting, again, a clear message. We want to work together in addressing global challenges such as climate change, the loss of biodiversity, or the digital transition. So the twin priorities of the greening of our economies and the digital transition are priorities which are shared, I believe, by the EU and India. And we want to work together so that we can shape the global agenda in a way which is conducive to the pursuit of global common goods. These are just some highlights. There were a number of other issues coming out of this summit.
So, a lot of things happened, but as you pointed out, when it comes to FTA, there has been an announcement on resumption of talks. So what next? When can we see perhaps the conclusion of the FTA? Because talks are the most difficult part of these kind of conversations, because it's not easy to conclude FTA. There are always reservations from both sides. So when can we expect perhaps the talks to conclude, or perhaps the final signing of the FTA?
No, these are complex negotiations, as you rightly say. But what we have taken is the decision to resume the talks, the formal negotiation. And at the last summit in 2020, we had established a high-level dialogue, which is shared on the Indian side by Minister Goyal, and on the European side by the Executive Vice President Dombrovskis. This dialogue has proved very effective. I think that this positive outcome we have achieved at the summit was also driven by the good work done at this political level and also at working level. So we want to continue to use this dialogue, to use this structural mechanism we have set in place since last year, also to ensure the follow-up to this decision about resuming negotiation for an FTA agreement.
So you also mentioned the connectivity partnership. This is, of course, an interesting part, and India is the second country with which EU has this partnership after Japan. What are the nitty-gritties in terms of the partnership? Can we expect a partnership in the third countries as well?
Well, yes. I mean, you have read the document. It's an interesting document. It sets the principles, first and foremost. I mean, India and you come together because we believe in a connectivity which is grounded in principles such as sustainability, fiscal sustainability, social sustainability, environmental sustainability, and also in transparency. And we believe in a level playing field for business. We are open market economy, so we want the private sector to have a key role in the implementation of projects related to infrastructure. So the document sets in place some principles which are shared, and then identifies dimensions where we can work together for better connectivity, energy, transport, but also the digital transition, digital connectivity, and people-to-people connectivity. So these are all important dimensions where we can work together in the region and beyond. And as an example, let me remind here what the European Investment Bank has been doing here in India for the past few years. You see the EIB contributing to the development of sustainable mobility in India through investment in a number of metro systems. And the day before the leaders' meetings, the EIB actually signed additional contracts for the Kanpur and Pune metro. So in our toolkit, we have several instruments that we want to use. And I think the connectivity partnership sets the ground for the efficient use of these tools.
So at the summit, the Indian Prime Minister specifically mentioned about the waiver when it comes to the COVID vaccine patents. We know the conversation has also started in European Union. We saw the comments coming from your leadership. So what next when it comes to European Union? You have said that you can have a discussion on this, but has the European Union finally shed the inhibitions regarding finally giving a waiver when it comes to the patent for COVID vaccines, backing the proposal at the World Trade Organization?
Look, we are ready to discuss, and I mean it's a very serious issue, obviously, and we look forward to a conversation that we can have at the World Trade Organization and beyond. Our priority is to look together how best to ramp up the production of vaccines worldwide, and how to make these vaccines available at an affordable price to all those who need them. That's why the European Union has been leading in the creation of the COVAX initiative, and we are among the largest contributors. So we believe that it's important we focus on increasing production and to avoid measures that may disrupt supply chains. We have also, like India, we have also been exporting vaccines. I think more or less as many vaccines have been exported as used domestically in Europe, around 200 million doses. And India has also been leading the way in exporting to the neighborhood and beyond. So we start from the same proposition that we want a response by the international community to the crisis, which is based on solidarity and which pursues a global common goods.
So now coming to Indo-Pacific, this is another topic where both sides are increasingly announcing a lot of things. You announced your guidelines as well. Any kind of practical cooperation after the summit that might have been agreed to?
You're familiar with the council conclusions adopted a couple of weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Basically, the council conclusions make it clear that the European Union is a stakeholder in the Indo-Pacific, and we want to shape a vision, a strategy for the Indo-Pacific, which we believe is pretty close to the Indian vision. Because what are the objectives of this strategy? Well, this strategy wants the EU to contribute to a region which is prosperous and stable, and where the international law is respected, including the law of the sea. Because we believe in a rules-based system of international governance. We believe in the respect. We believe that the international community is best served when international law is respected. And I think, and these are principles and values which are shared by India. So based on this agreed principle, I think there is wide scope for cooperation between the EU and India in the region. India is clearly a key player in the Indo-Pacific, also very active player that has been developing its own vision. And I think there are obvious convergences there and therefore space for the EU and India to work together.
So my final question to you is, the last time when we had conversation, 16 EU countries had sent assistance to India to deal with the pandemic, the second wave of the pandemic that has wreaked devastation here. What is the situation now? How many countries have additionally sent assistance to India, or perhaps announced their pledges towards New Delhi?
Yes, well, as we speak, we have additional member states joining in. I have a list in front of me of flights which are supposed to land in the coming days, pooling material equipment from Finland, from Germany, from Greece, from the Netherlands, from Portugal, from Slovenia, from Malta. So as you can see, the list is longer every day. It's a massive joint effort by all 27 member states of the European Union, coordinated within the European Civil Protection Mechanism. And as you read in the news, every day there are planes landing. And I think that's a very concrete testimony to the fact that we have a strong partnership in place between the EU and India, which I'm sure will emerge stronger from this crisis, where we have been helping each other as much as we could.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for speaking with WION on a number of issues, and of course the India-EU summit, which was, of course, perhaps one of the main highlights of not only just this week, but perhaps this month as well. Thank you so much, sir.